Hello everyone, this is Mike with the Stock and Options Room at ShadowTrader. Today I'm looking at the weekly chart of the light sweet crude oil futures continuous contract, and I find this chart to be very informative. I've been following along, as you can see how I've had it drawn up here. I've been following this chart and trading it for a while now, and I wanted to point this out because I think there is a very good reason to be cautious with oil if you feel bullish. I'll just put it that way. We have a large descending triangle here that's very cleanly boundaried at the top. It didn't quite come up to it right here. But then we have this bottom that's a wider zone, which is fine. It's still, in general, a very large descending triangle. And then once the other thing to note here is that crude oil, like many charts, has a pretty good tendency over time to build these areas where the auction shies away from them. I call them LVZs, or low volume zones, and these are what I trade around. I feel that they are the place where the market deflects away from, and so I focus on those. And so crude oil does build these zones inside of here, and I've highlighted a few. There are more in here, but I've highlighted just a few. So if we start zooming in on this, actually let's just go right on down to a daily chart here. We can see that, well, let me actually back that up a little bit. I want to show you one more thing. We can see here that inside of this descending triangle, there is a equal-sided triangle flagging sideways right through the middle of this that is also squeezing the price down. And inside of that, there are signs of weakness that I want to point out. And the first sign of weakness is the inability right here. If I blow this up now, the inability of price to make it back to the top of that particular price compression triangle. So that's noted. And in here we also have a low volume zone where, yes, the market goes through it, but when you blow that up, it doesn't really spend much time there. And so I can establish that as an area that the auction shies away from. And that tells me a lot of information, really. And we have here's an old head and shoulders pattern, and then when it came back up into here, it couldn't make it any higher than this, and of course that's what partly helped establish the fact that I could see that triangle that was forming in there. Then it fell back out, and when it came back up here, it couldn't make it to here anymore, and then we rolled over much harder and fell out of that triangle. Now we have this bounce, and we have established another low volume zone right here. This is the news on the Iran situation, and this is what scared the oil market and shoved the price up. I was short here when that happened and got stopped out because of that news that came out. But note how the market stopped on the top side of that larger weekly triangle, descending triangle, and couldn't even make it back up to this low volume zone here. And I felt at the time that this was an emotional situation, that once the dust settled, that we would see oil back to the downside. And sure enough, we have now broken through this again, tested it here, went up, and made another run and broke through it. Now we have bounced, and we are testing it from underneath. I am of the opinion that this is going to roll over, and we are going to see oil head into the mid 60s to the lower 60s again. And to put my money where my mouth is, I have shorted crude oil today in this area right here, and I will hold this trade unless crude oil gets up to $73, and then I'll consider that I was proven incorrect and go ahead and get out of the trade. So I've sized my trade accordingly. So let's see what happens here. All I want to do is point out here that this is a weak chart in a larger time frame. It's hard to say. As you guys know, crude oil can be a little bit crazy and news driven at times, but it's definitely in the larger time frame a weakening pattern, and I would not be surprised at all to see oil head into the lower prices again that we saw here not very long ago.
Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm one of the moderators for the new ShadowTrader Stock and Options Room. Thank you for joining me for this video today, and if you enjoyed it, hit the like and subscribe buttons below. You know, I'd like to invite you to join me in the new Stock and Options Room. We've got some good trades going. studying some great charts and learning some great stuff together. In general, there's a lot of great content there that I think you would benefit from. So until then, I wish you good trading, and I'll see you in the room.